Yo, how's it going to do? Back Noville, and today I'm going to be getting into what I think is going to be the new era of the NBA. So basically, I'm going to be getting into how I think the NBA is going to start changing and where I think the next direction of how teams are going to start building their team is going to go. So in this video, I'm basically going to be into what the old era was, in my opinion, which is this era currently, and then what the new era going forward I think could possibly be. So if you're interested in that and you are kind of curious where I'm going to go in this video, make sure to stick around, listen to the whole video, and if you do like the video point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without running on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing we get for this video is going to be the old era of the NBA. And by the old era, what I mean is the era that was kicked off by the Golden State Warriors when Steve Kerr decided to go with the fully small ball, three-point, off-ball movement-centric type of team. Because really, before the Warriors, no team put as much emphasis on the outside shot until Steve Kerr became the coach, with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson forming the Splash Brothers, which ended up being one of the best, most dominant teams in the entire NBA and maybe in NBA history. And honestly, he was the first coach as well to really commit to a small ball lineup, because before this lineup was ever seen, small ball was kind of like, they knew what it was, but no one really fully committed. But the Golden State Warriors fully committed to high-paced small ball lineup, and it worked greatly to them, like I said, making them one of the most dominant teams, because up until that point, no other team ever had to defend a system like that. So that system was so new and so hard to figure out how to stop or how to slow down that they resulted in winning 3 NBA Finals and also multiple MVPs for Steph Curry, while also setting the win record for their season. And honestly, it just showed how good that system could possibly be. And what that system really resulted in was almost every team in the NBA trying to replicate that, with centers becoming a lot less valuable and every player on the court needing to be quick, be able to shoot the ball, and three-point shooting also just went up a ton of value points when it came to a skill you had. 3-and-D players became like some of the most important players you're trying to draft out of the draft at any point. Like 3-and-D at one point was completely overused, and it's still kind of an overused word, but I mean, that's still to this day one of the most valuable things you can be as a player, and that is mainly because of how much Golden State used that to their advantage and how much it impacted their chances to win the finals. The biggest kind of like showmanship of how this lineup went small ball and like their death lineup when they were like the 2015 Warriors that consisted of like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, and Draymond Green. There was no centers. Now, although in the NBA Finals, Zaza Pachulia did start a lot of those games, he very rarely had more minutes than Andre Iguodala, or he very rarely finished the games, if ever, really. Like, in the Finals, it was always coming down to their lineup of small ball, and that's what they banked off, and then it would help them win 3 NBA championships. And due to how wildly successful that system showed to be, every team, like I said earlier, tried to copy it. Obviously, no team had the same success as the Warriors had, but they still tried to copy it. And we saw players like Trae Young, who probably would have been a little bit farther down the draft before, but because Steph Curry, an undersized guard that can shoot the hell out of the ball, was so good, Trae Young got drafted higher, and he has been a great player as well. So really, Steph Curry also molded the way to show that small guards that are very good on offense and can shoot the ball at a very high level can be extremely valuable in this league. So the Golden State Warriors, in many ways, started a completely new era of the NBA, and that's the era we are currently living in. But like every other era before it, it does have to come to an end, and a new one has to begin, and I think that's what's going to be happening over the next probably like 3 to 5 years. And I think this new era is going to consist of a whole bunch of 7-footers that can do pretty much everything you want: guard the perimeter, be athletic, dribble the ball, shoot the ball, be offensively skilled. A whole bunch of those type of 7-footers, starting about 3 of those in every single lineup. And I'm not just saying this as a complete prediction. You kind of already see it starting with teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who, although their guard situation is normal, their small forward, power forward, and center is not normal at all for the NBA, as they're starting 3 7-foot players in Lauri, Markenen, Evan Mobley, and Jarret Allen, all of which are extremely offensively talented. They are agile enough to guard everybody on the perimeter. They can switch 1 through 5 and be competent on anyone they are guarding, and they can pretty much do anything you want your big men to do, and with them starting 3 of them has caused huge problems for a lot of teams in the NBA. And the reason this is so effective is because with everybody being so small ball centric and trying to copy what the Golden State Warriors were doing, now the Cleveland Cavaliers are pretty much countering them with the exact opposite, playing pretty much big man ball, but their big men can do everything that any of their guards can do, but they're so much bigger they can dominate in the paint, they can grab rebounds, they can do so many perfect things that counter the small ball lineup, because the whole point in the small ball lineup is they're going to be too quick for big men to guard, they're going to be too offensively talented, and they can't guard them on the perimeter. But now what the Cleveland Cavaliers have, they now have 3 7-footers who can do all of those things, and it kind of really affects any team that plays full on small ball, their ability to be as effective as they want to be. So I think for sure in the next few years, if Cleveland Cavaliers keep going on this trajectory of getting better and better, a lot more teams are probably going to try to go this route, especially with there already be players like Kristaps, Porzingis, like I said, Evan Mobley, Chet Holgren coming in the draft next year. There's going to be a lot of these type of players around the league that are going to become a lot more valuable because they're going to have new ways to use them, and they can be even more effective than they already are. So I do think like players, like I said earlier, like Kristaps and Chet are going to go up a ton in value in the next coming years. And I think for sure that this system is going to be the new system going into the future, because it's not like this is like an experiment or anything at this point. Like, this is going to be where they go with going into the future, as they've already seen huge improvements from just last season. Last year they went 22-50 and were the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference, and they are currently sitting at 35-23 at the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Like, that improvement does not happen normally from one year to another year. And although Evan Mobley is an excellent player, he is not the only reason they're that. It's because the system is so effective and so hard for so many teams in the league to guard due to how they tried to build their team around small ball and trying to mimic what the Golden State Warriors were doing. So I think for sure this is the beginning of a new era, and as time goes on and as more of these unicorn type players come into the NBA, they're going to be extremely valuable, and teams are going to start trying to build their system around this. Because why go small ball when you can get 3 7-footers on your team and still play the same way you would if you were playing a small ball lineup? So I think for sure this team is going to be very interesting in the future, and Cleveland legitimately, once they do develop, if they get a little bit better guard play with a little bit better of a bench play, this team could be one of the hardest outs in the playoffs and be dark horse contenders as soon as even this year. Honestly, like, they're the 4th seed, they are dark horse contenders whether you like it or not. And then I didn't even mention they have Kevin Love coming off their bench, who, although he's not the Kevin Love what he once was by any means, but he's still Kevin Love, a big man who can shoot threes and spread the floor and is offensively skilled. Now, although he might not be as agile as all of them, he is perfect for them off the bench because they don't even have to really sacrifice their size or their system when he goes in because of how big he is, and he can easily replace any of the big 3, or Evan Mobley, Lauri Markenen, and Jarret Allen. He can replace any of them fairly easily and be able to give them very good offense while still being a big man. So they pretty much have the perfectly built team for this system, and I think eventually maybe even teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, because they have Giannis who can be a center and you can play him at so many different positions and pair him with other big men, that could be very dangerous as well. So I think we could definitely see a lot of teams start trying to build around this type of lineup and this type of build. So I think for sure this could be the beginning of a new era, but I want to hear how y'all think about this. Do y'all think the new era is beginning, or do you think this is just going to be a one-time thing, only Cleveland can do this? I want your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, blessed day. So you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.